All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We have a good turnout in the room. My name's Erica. I am a holistic wellness coach currently in Northeast Ohio. Very glad you all could join me today on this 30-minute presentation on the art of hygge, cultivating contentment during the winter months. Now, mercifully, at least in the northern hemisphere, we are approaching spring. And whether or not, when the seasons shift into the fall and winter months, it's like a welcome event for you, you love your pumpkin spice lattes and your cozy sweaters and, the joy of the holidays and decorating Christmas trees and all that. Or if you're like me, and just, really disliked winter for a long time. I did grow up in the Midwest and I lived in Chicago and Boston and definitely had some hard winters. And then the past 2 years, I moved to Arizona and skipped winter for 2 years. And then just recently, this past year, moved back to Northeastern Ohio. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I throw a little tantrum in the winter. In the kind of Buddhist conception, we talk about pain times resistance equals suffering. And yes, winter is going to be inevitable if you live in certain geographical climates. But your resistance to it, you don't, winter is an inevitability, but you don't necessarily have to suffer during it. Which is why the Scandinavian cultures have kind of created this um, idea of hygge, which we'll cover today, what it is, its benefits, and kind of some of the key principles and ways in which you can introduce some of these routines into your colder months in order to keep yourself joyful. Maybe you are like me as well. You get a little bit of seasonal affect, the winter blues. This affects about 10 to 20% of people each year. A mild form of seasonal affect disorder where you might get a little, lack of motivation, a sense of dread. Um, you might tend to, withdraw from people or oversleep a little too much. Maybe there's some appetite changes, especially with the overindulgence of the holidays, just like kind of overconsumption. Maybe leading to some brain fog because of that fatigue, difficulty with concentration and memory. Hygge is kind of the antidote to that, ways in which we can keep our physical and mostly our mental health stable throughout the long, cold, dark months. Sometimes, like you feel like Persephone, like going into the underworld, and then emerging back in springtime. But it's pronounced Hygge. And it is primarily a big part of Danish culture, often associated with winter, but it is the practices and, like I said, maybe more importantly, the mindset of slowing down, of finding joy and coziness and contentment in life's simple pleasures. Um, and naturally, I mean, this is what happens in the winter anyway. The plants die, the animals hibernate, life just gets a little slower before the heat and the hustle and bustle of spring. All the animals come back alive and start mating and whatnot. So it's just a practice of honoring that, and geographically, again, we have the longer nights, winter solstice, the night kind of overtakes the lightness. So just kind of, it's a way of honoring that natural cycle of life and the seasons. What practicing slowing down and practicing this mindset of like gratitude and joy and contentment helps to reduce anxiety and depression, right? That seasonal affect disorder releases a lot of these self-care practices, release a lot of hormones like dopamine and serotonin. Which help to regulate mood and help with, pain relief and, the circadian rhythms of your sleep cycles, your appetite, your digestion, all that good, healthy, pillars of health stuff. Hygge also helps to strengthen your relationship with yourself and with others. So, increasing that level of self-care and compassion in your own life releases oxytocin, this kind of love hormone. Excuse me, I think I'm gonna thought I was gonna sneeze. Helps to promote trust, empathy, and the bonding of social relationships. These self-care practices also help you build more, better immune function, better sleep cycles. Anytime you're decreasing your stress hormones, right, it has all these other beneficial effects on your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your sleep, your weight, your mood. And it gives you a healthier toolkit, right? So you might fall into some bad habits, maladaptive coping strategies. You might overeat or binge watch or doom scroll on the social media. You might drink too much or use a little bit more substances. So Hygge gives you a self-care toolkit in essence to help comfort yourself, to soothe the nervous system so you don't um, you aren't as readily reaching towards those less healthy coping strategies. And then also a great benefit here by practicing mindfulness, by practicing gratitude, it helps to just kind of ingrain those attitudes, those moods into our neural pathways so that they become habitual. Um, all right, so some concrete here, winter health tips. We're going to cover kind of basic stuff and then more specific stuff characteristic of Hygge. But overall, winter health tips, how do we eat well? Well, we tend to have a tendency to want to reach for the comfort foods, right? As well, we should, right? Our body expends more energy in the winter just keeping itself warm, especially if you are out and about and moving the body in colder weather. You need to replenish, uh, nourish yourself, get good, healthy, whole foods. So ideally, you're eating foods that give you energy, especially because you're not really getting a lot of that energy from sunlight in the winter. So avoiding overly processed or sugary foods, which are going to give you that spike of artificial energy and then make you crash. You want to eat stuff, that's high in fiber. Um, Fish is really good. You get those healthy omega-3 fats. That help to give you that feeling of satisfaction as opposed to the fatty or sugary comfort foods. Eat something with good fats in it, your olive oils. Dark chocolate is wonderful, has a lot of good phytochemicals in it as well. Fermented foods, your kimchis, your kitcheries, your kombuchas, um, pickled stuff, your other ferments helps to boost digestion, especially in those times like Thanksgiving and Christmas where we're overeating and we need maybe a little digestive boost. Ginger as well, like ginger tea is wonderful as a pre or post digestive. Eating whole fruits and vegetables, oats, things with a lot of good non-animal proteins in them, nuts, seeds, beans, lentil, right? Literally, what you put into your body, your food, are the foundational building blocks of all the tissues in your body. So you want to keep it supported. Also, we talked about Hygge not just being like practices, but the mindset in doing these practices. So a big part of it is enjoying the present moment, right? In essence, cultivating mindfulness, which you can do at any time, right? Essentially, mindfulness is just paying attention to what's happening in the present moment, say, like through your five senses. So, eating well, but also eating mindfully. So, sitting down instead of grabbing that granola bar or trying to eat on the run. Put your phone away, turn the TV off, right? Remove the distractions so that you can focus your senses on enjoying the meal. Chewing thoroughly. I tend to like inhale my food, not the best for digestion. So take some time, put down your utensils between bites, savor the flavors of the food, tune into the senses. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? Can you discern all the six discernible senses? Sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, astringent. Can you slow down enough to really start to appreciate the nuances of the food you're eating? Eating slowly enough where you notice your fullness cues. And then reflecting, once you start to eat mindfully is more of a routine, what's does your relationship with food change? Do you feel more satisfied from your food? Do you and maybe take some time to say like a grace or to bless the food and all the people and animals and plants it took to even get that stuff on your plate. So taking some time to to appreciate what you have in front of you. Also, right, we don't get enough sunlight in the winter, so that messes up our melatonin production, our circadian rhythms. We might oversleep or sleep later because the sun's not telling us it's time to get up. So, to maintain consistent sleep schedules throughout winter, we want to keep a routine. Go to bed and get up at roughly the same time every day, including weekends. Maybe you treat yourself, sleep in like an extra half hour or hour, but really try to keep body and mind loves routine. If you do need a midday nap, limit it to about 20 minutes before you get into that REM cycle where you're just going to wake up feeling like a little sluggish and groggy. So 20 minutes, set an alarm if you have to. Also, a good time to maybe re-examine your relationship with caffeine, cutting back in the afternoon, maybe gradually weaning yourself off of it or trying a coffee substitute. Dandy blend, there's a bunch of mushroom blends out there you can experiment with. Um, and I think one beverage that is very hygge, maybe hot chocolate too, but the golden milk recipe is so delicious and wonderful for soothing the nervous system. And if you do have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, like warm milk, this is just like your grandmother's wisdom, warm milk is super effective. So, bringing some whole milk to a boil, boiling it. Open boil is going to make it more easily digestible, right? It's warm, it breaks down, it releases some of the condensation from the liquid, so it's more easily digestible. You can dilute it 50-50 with water if you do have extra sensitivity with cow dairy. If cow dairy is just you're like really allergic to casein, that's fine. You can use an oat milk or an almond milk. Just know that those milk substitutes are not going to be as effective as at inducing sleep as the heavier nutrients in cow dairy. But what do? We boil it, we can dilute it, we can add spices, digestive spices to make it more easily digestible. Your ginger, again, it's the doctor of kitchen spices. Turmeric is traditionally what makes it golden. You could add a little cumin, coriander, cinnamon, nutmeg as well. Nutmeg is the number one kitchen spice to help induce natural sleep. So throw a little nutmeg in there. Maybe a little organic raw honey when it's cool enough to drink if you want a little extra sweetness. But it is those heavier, dense nutrients of milk, and then also the sweetness, right? The sweet taste is what is that comforting taste, gonna help to lull the nervous system, and give you a good. One caveat here: do make sure to brush your teeth after drinking the golden milk before you go to sleep because that turmeric can start to stain your enamel. But warm beverages, warm, cozy clothing, to keep your nighttime routines cozy. Another winter health tip, get moving, right? So our posture, our facial expressions, our sedentariness all affect our mental health in the winter. So we got to practice still good posture. We got to maybe practice smiling, even if we're faking it till we make it. That biofeedback will start to affect the mind if the body gets in line. Do keep up your sustainable, enjoyable fitness routines. Get out there for walks, when it is, you need some sunlight in the eyeballs for that vitamin D, get some fresh air. Um, you could do a little inversion practice or a little self-massage, get, self-massage or hire a LMT for a little bit of body work. All those things, the inversions, the movement, the massage help the immune system function. The lymphatic system doesn't have the same pump as the circulatory system, right? There's no heart or organ moving that fluid around. So we need to rely on inversions and movement and massage to keep the lymph moving and keep our immune system healthy. Another way to infuse some slowing down and some mindfulness to your movement practices. Of course, depending on the temperature, you of course want to bundle up and be cozy, but you could try a mindful walking practice. You could do this indoors as well. But again, anything that gets you to slow down, make the automatic stuff unautomatic, unhabitual. So paying attention to your posture, paying attention to the weight distribution between your feet and the parts of your feet. Consciously choosing which foot to start with, m moving very slowly. You can even label those parts of the movement, pick up the foot, move the foot through space, place the foot back down. Labeling it lifting, moving, placing. To get out of those habituated patterns of movement, experiment. Maybe you walk from heel to toe, right? Or toe to heel, or walk as if on a balance beam, walk backwards, walk in a figure eight. Just all the ways in which you can experiment and break out of, these automated ways of moving. Count your steps, intentionally turn around, repeat the process. Of course, if you're outside, stay aware of your, surroundings for safety. But yeah, slow your movement down, slow your eating down. Another cozy practice here, taking care of your skin, right? So that self-care routine of, your bath routine, your shower routine, your skincare routine. You want to stay hydrated, right? Drinking about 75% of your body weight in ounces a day. Obviously paying attention to your urine output to see how hydrated you are. You don't have to overdo it though. The body can really only absorb about 3 to 4 ounces of fluid at a time. But stay consistently hydrated. You can do the little pinch test if you pinch your skin and it takes a while to go back down. It's a sign you're a little dehydrated. Applying an SPF to any exposed skin, even if it's not sunny out. We know those UVA, UVB, they can penetrate the cloud cover. Applying moisturizer to the more sensitive areas, your lips, your nose, your ears, hands, things that are more exposed to the harshness of the wind. And then like the ultimate luxurious self-care practice is an oil body massage, called Abhyanga in like Ayurvedic or like Indian medicine circles. And this again is a very, very effective way not only to hydrate and moisturize the skin, but to calm the nervous system, right? So, as opposed to say like a lymphatic massage or a dry brushing, which goes against the grain of the hair upward towards the heart. That's like a more invigorating massage. An abhyanga or an oil massage goes downwards, right? So it goes with the grain of the hair, long strokes on the bones, circular motions on the joints. You start from the head down, right, to ground the energy towards the feet. And you do this before a bath or a shower. Sesame oil is often recommended. It is for this purpose probably the warmest and densest of oils that you can use. But olive oil can work, sunflower oil, almond oil. I'd steer clear from coconut oil for the whole body in winter because coconut is cooling. And we want to keep the body nice and warm. No drafts, keep the bathroom nice and steamy and warm. And then towel off the excess oil, let that soak and absorb for like, 10, 15 minutes. Towel off the excess. Be careful in the shower. I like to keep a little box of baking soda to sprinkle there just to avoid any slips and falls. And then yeah, and then you don't even, soap the hairy parts or the smelly parts, but really you can just let the rest of that oil, you don't have to soap it off or anything, just let it continue absorbing into the skin. Um, and yeah, what again, like a lovely part of a hygge nighttime bath routine to help you enjoy the small pleasures of, and again, think of like a spa-like environment, the ways in which you can soothe your senses, right? So aromatherapy, we'll talk about lighting here and curating your environment, but soothing the skin, soothing the ears, looking at nice, warm, lit things, something, tasty and sweet to the tongue. These are all ways in which you can soothe your senses for a more hygge lifestyle, especially in the winter. A big part of hygge is the kind of the curation of your environment. Um, unplugging, creating some tech-free zones in your house, or even, not even TV. Like if you have a fireplace, like making that hearth a nice little focal point for the family and for conversation, not to be distracted by a bunch of screens. Practicing minimalism is also a very, Scandinavian and Asian concept. So practicing minimalism in your design choices, decluttering, investing in some good storage containers, channel some Marie Kondo, who wrote the life-changing magic of tidying up. So go through periodically and clear out and donate and get rid of the stuff that's not just cluttering up your space, but cluttering up your mind, right? If there's a bunch of stuff all over the place and there's no place for the eye to rest in your environment, it keeps the mind stimulated, it keeps the mind, processing data. So we want to, again, soothe the senses, soothe the mind. Mood lighting is wonderful, especially in the winter and with a lot of darkness. You can get like a light simulator in for your bedroom that like mimics the sunrise, so that you can keep some of those circadian rhythms. Candles are wonderful. They smell nice, they look nice, they provide the soft focus filter for you, as opposed to like an Instagram filter. It's like a natural. Everyone looks better in candlelight. Dimmers for light, so you can, paint your environment with light, right? Take a note from the chiaroscuro of like, our Renaissance painters, little Caravaggio or whatever, and like paint with light. Incorporating more natural elements and quality natural textiles, like natural fibers. So avoiding synthetics, avoiding plastics, channeling, like bringing in the elements of earth, maybe through plants, fire, obviously through the candles or the fireplace, water, maybe there's like a water feature, that can provide some nice soothing sound, metals, woods, your cottons, canvases, linens, wools, things that come from the natural environment. House plants as well. Not only do you get that nice oxygen CO2 exchange, but it's just another living presence in your space, right? That bringing that prana, like that energy of something that's, living into the environment. And again, any way you can soothe the senses, color therapy. So what colors are soothing to you? Probably some neutrals, some naturals. Blues are very soothing. Obviously, like reds and yellows and bright, jarring colors are going to be more stimulating to the nervous system. So choosing a nice soothing color palette, sound, maybe there's some instrument, you throw on an instrumental, records, aromatherapy, things like lavender and yeah, your sandalwoods or your cinnamons, those warm, spicy undertones can be really soothing. Your citruses and eucalyptus and things like that are going to be more stimulating. So again, thinking about hygge is like calming the nervous system. How do we get nice and cozy? Displaying art and photos and objects around the house that inspire you and that remind you of your family. Because a huge part of hygge and the Danish culture is to socialize, right? To form those like family and friendship bonds with people. Um, so tip here is to kind of create at the outset of winter a winter survival guide or like a winter social calendar where you not only write down or remind yourself of your daily routines, your eating, your sleeping, your oil massage, your movement routines, to keep you accountable, but also, schedule your holiday parties, your social outings. Maybe you host one, right? So you're kind of the hub that helps to nourish other people and to bring them together. Make sure to schedule some staycations or some mini getaways or a spa day periodically throughout winter and get them on the calendar in advance because when that seasonal depression does start to hit and you don't want to, leave, you just want to pull the covers over your head and not leave your bed for a week. It's nice to have those things already planned and people holding you, accountable for getting out there. Remember your hobbies, right? So putting together like a little toolkit for yourself. Pull the funny movies or romantic movies or like, whatever gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling, those holiday Netflix specials. Pull your favorite, your favorite books or books, movies you've been wanting to watch, things that are going to be more lighthearted. And again, think of ways to cultivate a positive mindset. Maybe you take a break from the true crime murder shows for a little bit in the winter. This bucket list is also very cute. Maybe you and your family create your own little bucket list that you keep on the fridge. You know, baking, get out there and sled, have a little snowball fight, have a pajama day, get your matching pajamas. Sure, why not? But yeah, to create a little to-do list together, and then check it off periodically throughout the months, throughout the season. So we have the practices here of socializing, of decorating your space, of, self-care, soothing rituals around bath time and around eating and like warm beverages. But ultimately, like we said, Hygge is a mindset. Having some type of consistent meditation or mindfulness practice helps you slow down, right? Mindfulness, remember, is again anchoring yourself in the present moment with the five senses, but watching thoughts, feelings, physical sensations kind of come up into your field of consciousness, but then you don't attach to them, you don't judge them, you don't like, you know, spiral and invite all these thoughts and feelings to stay. You just kind of watch them drift out, practicing that observer, witness consciousness so that you don't feel overwhelmed or reactive to those thoughts and feelings. Again, I encourage like practicing with a meditation app to start to get some of these like principles, these theoretical principles more like ingrained into your neural pathways, if you will. Deep breathing is a wonderful way to calm the nervous system, particularly lengthening the exhale and holding out the exhale for a few moments before inhaling again. So practicing, with your golden milk, with your oil massage, maybe some breathing exercises. Having a gratitude practice with you and your family. Again, maybe you create a little box or a little jar, you decorate it, get the kids involved each day, you put down something you're grateful for in it. And then again, in those bleak, bleak winter months, the winter of discontent, when you're like, when is spring? Oh, 3 more months away. Then you can start to pull out these things that you've written down over the weeks, and as reminders of what you're grateful for and, the resilience and the fortitude to get through the next couple of months. Keeping a journal or a vision board, or maybe carrying an object, a rock, a piece of jewelry, a photo in your wallet, something that you'll see on a regular basis. And when you see it, it reminds you to appreciate all the stuff you do have. Maybe you temporarily give up something you've enjoyed, or just practice the thought experiment of mental subtraction. What would your life be like if a past event, an important event, did not take place, right? Remembering how good it feels when other people express gratitude to you. Maybe you sit down and you take that time to handwrite, a letter to someone saying thank you, call them up, text them, let people know that you appreciate them. And then one other recommendation here for, again, cultivating these feelings of peacefulness and contentment. Any meditation app you are playing around with will have a loving kindness meditation available, but it is essentially just a way to build compassion for yourself and then extend it out to others. And you can create any of your own affirmations here. I've given you a few that I use and teach. Um, May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I be free from pain. May I feel calm and connected. May I accept myself as I am. May I find joy in living. And again, the consistency of the routine of sending these sentiments to yourself. And then you send it to a dear one, a loved one, someone it's not super hard for you to feel these things about. But you picture them, you send those words to them. Then you picture a neutral person, someone you see on a regular basis, but maybe don't know quite as well. practice saying these words alone, silently or aloud to them. And then stretch the muscle a little bit or exercise the muscle a little bit. You picture someone you don't really like a whole lot. Picture them in as much detail as possible. Of course, always working within your window of tolerance. If you need a break, you take a break, come back to it, send these words to them. And then rippling out a little farther, all people or all beings, all sentient beings everywhere, maybe including those house plants around you or whatever, you send these words out to them. May we be healthy, may we be safe, may we find joy in living, may we accept ourselves as we are. So, consistently doing a little bit of this loving kindness meditation, breath work, other ways to calm the nervous system and the senses, all part of the Hygge lifestyle that we especially want to practice in the winter, again, because our mental health tends to suffer a little bit. But really, these are principles that you can take throughout, all the time, all the year. With that, I think we are at time. Woohoo! So I want to thank you for your time and attention. Again, my name's Erica. Let me know if you have any questions or comments for the presentation. I can stick around for a couple of minutes. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and a wonderful rest of your winter. Go into spring.